Hey guys, Chet here from Avion Technology. Your daily dose of wisdom from the guru. By the way, I have to do this little plug. So, two little things. First, who we are. We are Avion Technology. We are based in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. We are a digital agency. We help smaller digital agencies scale. We also help small businesses with their websites and apps. We also help young entrepreneurs launch online products. And of course, we do work in Salesforce and Microsoft Business Central. Uh, Second, anything that I say here, please do not take it as legal or financial advice. For those, need a certified professional who can guide you more. Why do I do these lectures? I've been in business for the last 17 years, and I felt that at this stage of my career, it would kind of make sense to pass some of the wisdom. I've, I, you, it, things always make sense when someone who's done that tells you, right? When I went to college, I used to always ask my professors, did you do this? Sometimes they said yes, and sometimes they said no. And I used to always respect my professors who had actually done that because they speak from experience, right? There's a difference, theory and practical. And it's very easy to theorize. It's very easy to, you know, have Excel sheets and projections and, it's very easy to be a billionaire on paper. It's very easy to be a multimillionaire on paper. It's extremely difficult to do it in real life, right? Why? Because it takes time. It takes hard work. It takes a little bit of luck. It takes there's a journey involved, right? It's so easy to kind of theorize and have Excel sheets and projections and all that stuff. So I've been doing this, like I said, for the last 17 years. I've had my own share of battles, and I thought I've come to a point now where I can talk about some of the things that have worked for me, right? So one of the things that has worked for me is having 3-year plans, right? For some reason, five-year plans did not work, and after the pandemic, 5-year plans, like, we really don't know what's going to happen in 5 years, right? If any one of you gets a chance, please read. There's an author called Nassim Nicholas Taleb, and he's written an amazing book called The Black Swan. If you get a chance to read that, he lays out how hard, how impossible, how improbable it is to really make any long range forecast. I mean, essentially, anyone who makes a long range forecast is BSing, right? Because none of us have any idea. At the same time, I've noticed that if you have a 1-year plan, you tend to become too myopic. You tend to become too short-sighted. You tend to focus on every quarter. Sometimes that kind of myopia is not good. Like, for example, if I just have a 1-year focus, I'm going to be extremely focused on the margins, right? Then what about R&D? What about training the employees, right? Because training the employees is not a 1-year thing. It's a 3-year endeavor, right? You're investing money up front so that those employees get educated and then they become more productive. So you're really going to get the benefits after the 1-year mark. So in my opinion, if you are doing any business planning, always choose a 3-year window. What are the vectors that you have to target? What are the different areas that you should plan for? One, obviously, is revenue, right? What's going to be your annual revenue? Number one. Number two, before you actually map out the expenses, I would highly recommend that you map out your margins, right? If you're running an extremely intense business with really low margins, it's really like being on a treadmill, right? You have to push out a certain number of cars out of the lot. You gotta push out a certain number of televisions out, right? To keep the lights on. Now, low margins kind of work in highly commoditized businesses where it's all about your gross sales and high number of units. But if you're running an agency with low margins, that's a death spiral. Because if you're running an agency and if you're not doing at least 15 to 20% operating margins every year, you're definitely not doing something right. So I would highly recommend that you peg your mark at 20%, so you should at least operate at 20% margins, if not more, if you're running an agency or for that matter any service business. Once you've done that, it'll give you a much better handle on the expenses. Now again, I know that everyone's who's watching this is at different time in their entrepreneurial journey. Like they're in a different time in their life cycle. Some of you might have been doing this for 10 years and you probably know all this, but there might be someone who's just started out. There's a lot of chaos in their business. They have a few dreams, they kind of know where they want to go, they have like a few life goals planned out, but they really don't know like how they should handle the minutia. And so some of these lectures are essentially for that person, right? So map out your revenue, fix a margin, right? And the margin is almost like a gold standard, right? It's non-negotiable, right? That should be the number that you should get. Then you do the expenses, right? This I would say is the most important metric. There's enough ways in accounting, like I know depreciation is, for example, one of those, but there's enough ways that through which you can actually get a profit on paper, but does that profit translate into cash in the bank, right? So free cash flow, ask your accountant what free cash flow is. Because of IRS, we all know our net margins, we all know our operating margins, but a lot of times we don't know what our free cash flow is. So please ask your accountant if you can start preparing free cash flow for our business. That'll give you an idea of the amount of cash that you're actually accumulating through your business. That's extremely important. Ask any business owner what is the true test of his business, and he'll say whether there's cash in the bank at the end of it. There's two more things that I want you to concentrate on. One is learning, especially if you're in the services business. Have a few goalposts, have a few milestones for yourself in terms of the areas in your business that you want to get mastery over, right? This is really important, especially now where technological change is so fast. So this is really something that I think everyone should spend 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, does not matter, but you have to invest time to keep yourself educated and up to date with whatever is happening in your field. And lastly, celebrate. This is really important. Plan that celebration, right? So take that week off, plan where you want to go, save for it, but make sure you celebrate that. Running a small business is painful, right? Let's be honest. And a lot of times we lose focus why we're doing it. But when you celebrate, especially with your loved ones, with your family, you see the reason why you're doing it. So celebrations are not for blowing up money, it's not for getting drunk and having a hangover. Celebrations are the times when you remember why you're going through all of this. It gives you the why, it gives you the purpose. I think it was Nietzsche who said, right, the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who said that a person who has a why can go through any how, right? So the person who has a purpose to their life can really go through any life situation. So that would be my advice to you, is that find out your why. Like even before you do this, find out why you're doing it. It's very cliched, I know. These days, every webinar, every Zoom, everything starts out, what's your why? What's your purpose? But it's something that has really worked for me. And in fact, I look at it quite often. I have written it down. And why do you need that why statement, right? It's because when the seas get rough, you need a compass to show you where north is. And the seas get rough a lot in small businesses. In fact, I would say the seas are always rough, right? So in those times, if you have a compass on you which is showing you where north is, or if you can see the lighthouse, that's where you're gonna go, because that's where the shore is, right? So that why statement, it's not a dead document that you keep in the safe or the locker somewhere and look at it after 10 years. It's a dynamic document that you keep updating and you keep looking at it every month. Because the more you're gonna look at that document, the more it's going to become a part of your subconscious, and you do not realize how much of you is actually your subconscious, right? It's these thoughts that we keep repeating to ourselves. It's those things that we always talk about. It's these books that we read that, become a part of our wisdom, right? So I would say about 80-90% of our actions are actually from our subconscious. So what you really are doing with this, when writing this purpose document, is actually you're training your subconscious to go towards a certain direction or to go towards a certain place. So this, like I said, do this exercise. I usually do it, in actually between 21st of December to 24th of December, right? I usually take like 3-4 days off and I do this, and then I go for my December break. Really helpful. It helps you to kind of set a goal. Let me know how it works out. This is Chet here from Avion Technology in the Chicagoland area. We do websites, we do apps. If you like our content, please subscribe. And these are my coordinates if you want to send me an email. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Bye bye.